Hello dear students. So today we are starting the lectures on genetics. So what is genetics actually? Genetics is the study of genes. So what are genes and where are they located? The genes are present on chromosomes. Suppose this is our cell and this is the nucleus. Then the chromosomes are present inside the nucleus. And on the chromosomes are situated the genes. If this is the chromosome, there will be so many genes upon the chromosomes. So let us see what is a gene actually. Gene is the sequences of nitrogenous bases on the DNA molecule. So what is a DNA molecule? DNA is actually double stranded structure of polynucleotides where the two strands are coiled around each other to form a double helix. So suppose this is one strand of polynucleotides, this is the other strand of polynucleotides. When these two chains are coiled around each other to form a double helix, then we call it a DNA molecule. This is the double helix made up of polynucleotide chains. Suppose let's see a single strand. So this is the single strand of polynucleotides. Then suppose these are the nucleotides. So many nucleotides are bound to each other to form a linear structure of polynucleotides. This makes the one strand of DNA. So when we have the two strands of DNA which are coiled around each other to form a double helix, that is the structure of DNA present inside the chromosomes of our cells. On these DNA molecules we have the sequences of nitrogenous bases. These sequences of nitrogenous bases forms the genes that we will see later. For time being, let's see the structure of DNA. So DNA we have seen is a double helix of polynucleotides. So let us see what is a nucleotide. What is a nucleotide? This one unit of nucleotide is actually made up of three subunits. So one of the subunit is nitrogenous bases. So first is here, it is nitrogenous bases. This is the first subunit of a nucleotide. So this nitrogenous bases can be of two types. They can be present either in the form of a double ring structure when these are known as the purines, or these can be present in the form of a single ring structure when these are known as the pyrimidines. So cytosine and thymine are the two examples of the single ring structure or pyrimidine. Adenine and guanine are the purines present inside the DNA molecule. So one nucleotide can have either adenine or guanine or cytosine or thymine. So one nucleotide will have only one type of nitrogenous base which can be either of the four: adenine, guanine, cytosine or thymine. So this is the one subunit of a nitrogenous base. So let's see what about the other subunit. The other subunit is actually a pentose sugar. Pentose sugar. Pentose means the sugar that contains 5 carbon atoms. So it's the pentose sugar. This is the oxygen molecule. This is carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is actually the structure of ribose. Why we say it's a ribose? It's the 5 carbon sugar with hydroxyl group is attached to carbon number 2 as well as to carbon number 3. Suppose we deoxygenate it, that is we remove one oxygen atom from carbon number 2. So now it's only hydrogen atom here. So we have deoxygenated the ribose sugar. then it's known as, it's no longer ribose, now it's deoxyribose. Deoxyribose. So this is the sugar present inside the nucleotides of DNA. So this is the second subunit, that is the deoxyribose sugar, which is a pentose sugar. So now let's see about the third subunit. Third subunit is the phosphate group, which we have demonstrated like this. So if we have one nitrogenous base and deoxyribose sugar and phosphate group, we can synthesize a nucleotide, that is we can synthesize a single nucleotide. When nitrogenous bases combine with the sugar moiety, that is nitrogenous base, which we have shown like this, N and V, nitrogenous base plus sugar, this combination is known as the nucleosides. Nitrogenous base plus sugar is known as the nucleosides. So let's see what are the different types of the nucleosides present inside the DNA molecule. See, the sugar will be same every time, that is deoxyribose sugar. So now this sugar can combine either with adenine, and the nucleoside formed is known as adenosine. When this deoxyribose sugar combine with guanine nitrogenous base, that is guanine, then the respective nucleoside is known as guanosine. When this sugar combines with when this sugar combines with cytosine, then the nucleoside formed is cytidine. When this sugar combines with thymine, then the nucleoside formed is known as thymidine. So these are the nucleosides. So nucleosides are the combination of nitrogenous bases plus sugar. So we can have 4 types of nucleosides inside the DNA molecule. But we know that the nucleotide is made up of 3 subunits, that is nitrogenous base plus sugar plus phosphate. So that means to synthesize a DNA molecule, we should first synthesize the nucleotides. Till now we have synthesized nucleosides. So let's combine this nucleoside with the phosphate group so that we can have our nucleotide. Because now we have one nitrogenous base plus sugar plus phosphate. So nucleoside plus phosphate is known as nucleotide. Suppose we have adenosine nucleoside, that is nitrogenous base plus sugar. So if we have adenosine nucleoside and we combine it with phosphate, then we will get adenosine monophosphate. Now this adenosine monophosphate has a nitrogenous base and sugar and phosphate group. So it is actually a nucleotide. It's a nucleotide with one phosphate group. So we call it adenosine monophosphate. Adenosine monophosphate or AMP. Adenosine monophosphate is abbreviated as AMP. Similarly, if we combine guanosine with phosphate, we will have guanosine monophosphate. Similarly, cytidine plus phosphate will make cytidine monophosphate, and thymidine plus phosphate will make thymidine monophosphate. Now what we have done, we have synthesized the nucleotides with one phosphate group. Now suppose, let's see, if we attach one more phosphate to this nucleotides. Now we have got AMP or adenosine monophosphate, and we have added one more phosphate group. So it becomes adenosine diphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate plus one more phosphate group, then we will have adenosine triphosphate or ATP. ATP. This ATP is the energy currency of cell. Or we can write it like this, that is adenosine monophosphate plus 2 phosphates. These 2 phosphates combined together are known as the pyrophosphate, and then we will have adenosine triphosphate, because Here we had one phosphate group and we have added two more phosphate groups. So in total we have three phosphate groups or adenosine triphosphate. So all these are examples of the nucleotides, that is the monophosphate is also nucleotide, diphosphates are also nucleotides and triphosphates are also nucleotide. Similarly, we can synthesize guanosine triphosphate, cytidine triphosphate as well as thymidine triphosphate. So let's see once again. We are going to study genetics. Genetics is the study of genes. Genes are the sequences of nitrogenous bases upon a DNA molecule in the chromosomes. So what is a DNA molecule? DNA molecule is a double strand of polynucleotides. What are polynucleotides? These are made up of a nitrogenous base plus deoxyribose sugar plus phosphate, and when all these or when so many nucleotides are bound to each other, we get a single strand of DNA, and when such two linear single strands of DNA gets coiled around each other to form a double helix, we get a molecule of we get the double helix of DNA. Now we have seen how we make the nucleotides. So let us now synthesize a chain of nucleotides so as to form a single strand of DNA. Now these are our nucleotides. This is nucleotide, first nucleotide, second, third and so forth. This is nitrogenous base, sugar moiety and phosphorus. Phosphorus group is attached to carbon number 5' of the deoxyribose sugar. So it makes a one nucleotide. When the next nucleotide comes, it comes in the form of nucleotide triphosphate. That is, the raw material for the formation of DNA is nucleotide triphosphate. But here we are saying that the DNA strand is made up of the nucleotide monophosphates. So what actually happens? One pyrophosphate group, that is 2 phosphorus, are removed from this nucleotide triphosphate. So now what's left behind is nucleotide monophosphate. Similarly, third one and all the other nucleotides also come in the form of nucleotide triphosphates, from which pyrophosphate group gets removed and only nucleotide monophosphates are left, which takes part in the formation of DNA strand. So this is our one nucleotide. This new nucleotide comes in the form of nucleotide triphosphate. Pyrophosphate group gets removed. So we are left with nucleotide monophosphate. Then what happens is this phosphorus, this phosphate group of the coming nucleotide, it forms bond with the C3 of deoxyribose subunit of the previously existing nucleotide. This is our previously existing nucleotide. This is the new nucleotide. The phosphate group, which is already attached to the carbon number 5' of the nucleotide or of the deoxyribose sugar of new nucleotide, it also forms bond with the carbon number 3 of the pre-existing deoxyribose subunit of the pre-existing nucleotide. So ultimately we say that this phosphodiester bond is formed. This bond is phosphodiester bond. It has got ester linkages here also with the carbon number 3 of the deoxyribose of pre-existing nucleotide, and it has ester linkage here also with the carbon number 5 of the deoxyribose subunit of the new nucleotide. So we say that we get the formation of phosphodiester bonds. Phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond. Similarly here also, now this nucleotide becomes the pre-existing nucleotide and new nucleotide comes, it comes in the formation of triphosphate, from which pyrophosphate group gets removed, so that we are left with nucleotide monophosphate, which already has a ester linkages with the carbon number 5 prime of the deoxyribose subunit. Now what happens? This phosphate group forms one more ester linkages with the carbon number 3 of the pre-existing nucleotide. So ultimately we get the formation of two ester linkages here. This one with carbon number 3 of the pre-existing nucleotide and with the carbon number 5 of the upcoming nucleotide, that is its parent nucleotide. So we get the formation of phosphodiester linkages. Phosphodiester linkages here also. This is phosphorus, these are two ester linkages. So we get the formation of phosphodiester linkages. In other words, we can say that we get a chain of, this is phosphorus, we get a chain of phosphorus group, then sugar moiety, then phosphorus, then this sugar, again phosphorus, again sugar. So this is how we get a chain of phosphorus and sugar subunits, phosphorus, sugar. And how these units are linked to each other? They are linked to each other with the help of diester bondages. This phosphorus group is attached to both the sugars with the help of diester linkages. Similarly, this one also, diester linkages, here also we got diester linkages, and similarly it keeps on going. So we get a single linear strand of phosphorus and sugar subunits like this, linked to each other with the help of phosphodiester bondages. Now these bonds are strong bonds, these are not easily broken. So this is how we synthesize a single strand of DNA. Similarly, as we know DNA is a double helical structure, similarly we have a one more chain of nucleotides on the other side. These are also linked to each other with the help of phosphodiester bonds like this. So here also we get a chain of sugar and phosphates. This is sugar, this is phosphorus, again sugar, again phosphorus, again sugar, again phosphorus. So these are also linked to each other with the help of phosphodiester bonds. As we have discussed, these are the strong bonds. This is phosphodiester bond, this is also phosphodiester bonds. So we have got two linear strands of nucleotides which have phosphorus and sugar backbone. These are the branches, you can say these are the branches, these nitrogenous bases are the branches. The backbone is made up of phosphorus and the sugar subunits linked to each other with the help of phosphodiester bonds. So similarly we have got one more chain. Now we should see that this DNA molecule actually exhibits a property of polarity. So what is the polarity of DNA molecule? If we see closely, we can say this is one nucleotide and it has got C5 prime end. This nucleotide has got C5 prime end here, and similarly suppose this is the last nucleotide in the single DNA strand and it ends with C3 prime here. See, this is one nucleotide. What is the carbon atom number at the end? It is C5 prime. this is the, suppose this is the last nucleotide, after attaching so many nucleotides, it has got C3 prime end. So the polarity of this chain is from C5 to C3. So let us see what is the polarity of the other chain. Here if we see closely, it's arranged upside down, because that is how this nitrogenous bases will be able to form bonds with each other and the DNA structure will be stable. So here see the direction of the deoxyribose sugar. So this chain is upside down. This chain is anti-parallel to this one. So here what is the end? It has got C3 prime at one end, and suppose this is the last nucleotide, it has got carbon 5 prime at this end. So what is the polarity of this chain? Its polarity is C3 to C5, like this. So we can say the two chains of DNA exhibit polarity, but these chains are anti-parallel to each other. If one chain has got C5 prime end on one side, then the other chain must have, to make this structure stable, the other chain must have C3 prime end on the same side. Similarly, if the other one chain ends with C3, then the other chain must end with C5. So this is how these two chains are arranged, that is in the anti-parallel direction. Now let's see how and what kind of bonds are formed in between these nitrogenous bases. See, as we know, we can have four kinds of nitrogenous bases. It can be adenine or thymine or guanine or cytosine. If we have, suppose, adenine here, this is adenine, then it can form bond with only thymine. And if we have got thymine here, it can form bond with only adenine. Similarly, guanine can form bond with only cytosine, and cytosine can form bond only with guanine. So, but what kind of bonds are formed in between these nitrogenous bases? See, between adenine and thymine, there are always two hydrogen bonds. Whether we have got adenine on this side or thymine on this side, this pair actually has only two hydrogen bonds in between. Similarly, the pair of guanine and cytosine has got three hydrogen bonds between them. So we can easily make out that the areas of DNA where there are abundant GC pair, where there is abundant GC pair, are difficult to break as compared to areas of DNA where there is more of AT pair. Why? Because AT pair has got only two hydrogen bonds, but GC pair always has three hydrogen bonds. Suppose we heat this DNA molecule. If we increase the temperature, slowly and slowly, first these two hydrogen bonds will get broken, or the areas of DNA where there are more of AT pair, that areas, in that areas the two strands of DNA will get separated. When the two strands of DNA get separated, this is called denaturation. Suppose we heat it or we change the pH and the two strands of DNA get separated, this is known as denaturation. And suppose these two strands again come together and forms the bond, and again we get the double helical structure of DNA, this process is known as re-annealing. That is re-annealing. So adenine forms bond with thymine, two hydrogen bonds. Similarly, thymine can form two hydrogen bonds with adenine. GC, we have got three hydrogen bonds.